Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video. Am I the a-hole for threatening to call the cops on my brother for screaming at me and my toddler son? I'm 8 months pregnant and brought my almost 2-year-old son over to my parents so they could see him. I got there earlier than when they came home from work and decided to cook my parents dinner so they wouldn't have to worry about it. I'm big on gentle parenting and letting my son explore and play. So I let my son get out a pan and make noise with it. Before anyone asks, my parents also don't care and they think it's funny when he does this. My brother decided to also visit my parents. I had no idea he was trying to take a nap downstairs. He came upstairs and screamed at me about my son. He told me to shut him the F up and that I was a effing witch and needed to go home. I explained to him I had no idea he was trying to take a nap or why, because he had his own apartment. And he just began screaming that my son needed to shut up and calling me names, etc. and that I needed to go home. I told him no because mom and dad want to see me and my son, and that he can go home if he has a problem. I tried to ignore him, but he then began screaming even louder, scaring my son, and I told him to stop and that he needed to calm down and not scream. He then started telling me he was going to make me shut the F up, so I asked him once more to go away. And he repeated that he was gonna make me and my son shut up. So I got out my phone and told him that he was threatening me at 8 months pregnant and with an infant, and I would call the police if he didn't stop threatening us. He ran off and went home. And he's been trying to guilt my dad into thinking that I said I would call the police just to win the argument. And he now refuses to talk to my mom, who is also furious with him. My dad also apologized for his behavior, but I know he's stressed about it and I feel bad about that. I was genuinely trying to get him to stop threatening us and stop screaming at my son. Am I the a-hole for almost calling the police? Should I have just gone home? I believe in putting my son first in every situation. I don't believe he would have hit us, but the threat of it is not okay. Not the a-hole, and please have a conversation with your parents about whether he's going to be around when you're over so you can avoid him. It sounds like he has a key to let himself in anytime, which is a bad idea. I hope your parents can help him get the anger management assistance he needs or limit time with him. He sounds dangerous. He has severe anxiety, and I know he suffers from it greatly. I know he will probably be terrified of the police for the rest of his life because of this. But I literally was sobbing my eyes out when this was happening and just wanted him to stop his threats. I know he suffers, but I can't put him in front of my son or unborn daughter. He's never done this to my son before. Only ever shouted and cursed me out. He's threatened me with violence, but it's been a few years. My mom was extremely impressed that I did this, and she congratulated me for sticking up for my son, and I handled it perfectly. She already doesn't want him over because he's disrespectful to her. I'm definitely going to talk to my dad about it. He's always helping people out and volunteering and working, and he just never sees my brother's behavior, and I know he just wants everyone to be happy. But I'm definitely going to talk to him so that he realizes what's going on. Not the a-hole. That's so sad. My siblings frequently gather at my parents' house. I live with them because I moved back to the area right before COVID and now there's no freaking house. LOL. And I would only be mad if my nephews, all under 3 years old, were here and no one woke me up from my after-work nap. LOL. Thankfully, they make sure to send the boys in to jump on my bed so I don't miss out. One of my nephews also likes to make noise with the pans. Literally goes straight for the cupboard, grabs the pans and lids, and starts banging them on the floor. I sit down next to him and bang in pots and pans with him, and he thinks it's the best. This made me so sad to hear, and I could not imagine getting upset with my siblings or my nephews. Your brother needs to get help for his anger issues. Those are really hateful and threatening words, and if it were me in your situation, I would have absolutely done anything to get him to stop yelling at me and my 2-year-old, including calling the cops. It's bad enough getting yelled at, but using those words would have terrified me. I can't imagine being 2 and getting yelled at like that. Not the a-hole. To the person saying it was just a way of winning an argument, she warned him what the consequences would be if he continued to shout that he would make a pregnant woman and her 8-year-old child shut the F up. If you saw a man screaming that in public, would you assume everything was fine and that any calls to the police were just to win an argument? I sincerely doubt it. You would be seeing someone verbally abuse a woman and a small child and threatening violence, so calling the police or warning them that you would is a reasonable way of forcing them to consider their actions and reassess if they want to continue. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be a maid for my husband's family? I apologize that English is not my first language. My husband, 26 male, is American. I am Spanish, 24 female, and we live in the US with his family. Due to COVID, I lost my job and my husband works in the family construction company as well as his siblings, 23 male and 22 female. When we got married, his parents asked me to live with them in their house, claiming that it would be very tragic for my husband to move out now. After so long, the house has been under renovation and is finally ready. The house is big and spacious, and as I have no family and not much money, it was the only option. As time went by, bullying started to emerge. My father-in-law telling jokes about me eating for free and about me being poor. My sister-in-law jokes about my hair, skin, eyes, body, makes up lies, and my brother-in-law only treats me well when he wants to. I talked about moving out here. My mother-in-law said that if we leave, my husband will be fired from the construction company. Without a salary, we can't even pay rent. Sometimes it's so much stress that I wake up to throw up. Now they want me to be the housemaid. They offered me $50 a week. The house is huge and difficult to clean, and I have cleaned the house already since I live here. But they want me to accept the $50 a week so that they can boss me around. I thanked them and said that I prefer cleaning for free as a form of payment for food. I don't want money because this money will bring humiliation. But now they're saying that I have a very big ego. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They are being racist a-holes. I hope you can get out of that house soon. Why isn't your husband standing up for you? I can tell that my husband is not even close to being the favorite son. They bully him too, and if he tries to raise his voice, they threaten to fire him. Once they threatened to kick him and me out of the house. Not the a-hole. The fact that they even tried making you the maid is so disrespectful in my opinion, and the fact that your husband is allowing his family to treat you like this is not okay either, girl. You need to speak to your husband and figure out an alternative place to go and a different job. If he's got experience, it may be easier for him to get another job than you think. Good luck to you. Not the a-hole. You're definitely not the a-hole here. That sounds like a very tough situation. I'm so sorry you're even in this position. $50 a week is a joke to clean an entire house, especially considering how much it would cost to hire an actual cleaner. I sincerely hope you're able to move out soon or find an alternative solution to your situation. Not the a-hole. You're bilingual. That's a commodity. You can easily find a job and get out of that house for at least some time each day. And does your husband have no backbone? He needs to be shutting all that verbal abuse down. Not to mention, what does it matter where he lives in order to work with his family? Stupid. Sounds like it's up to you to change your situation. I recommend you be aggressive in your pursuit of freedom from dependence. You are probably depressed. I know, I was just reading your post. Getting a job will improve your outlook, and don't believe them when they insult you. Best of luck. You can do it. Use your bilingual skills to your advantage. The city I live in is very small. Several businesses have closed. I'm looking in neighborhood cities, and on Monday I'm going to a job interview. The only concern is that even with my salary, I can't pay all our bills. I need my husband's help. That's why I asked him to start studying another area. I even suggested that he go to work as an attendant in the grocery store, but he doesn't want to because the salary is much lower than what he makes now. There are construction companies all over the US. He needs to start applying for some in other states and get away from his toxic family. I don't know your status, so if you take their baby boy away, they may report you to immigration. So it might be best if you move because they don't know where you've moved to. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my parents my savings for a down payment? I, female 19, am in college as a nursing student. My parents don't make much money together, so I qualified for a lot of financial aid, and my parents never helped pay for tuition or room or board. During this, I also got unemployment since I got fired from my job due to COVID and saved up a lot. During my childhood, I would always save up birthday money and allowances, when I would even get like $10 a week. And it's important to know that I have the Mr. Krabs cheapskate ideal of saving a lot of money. Right now, I have about $30,000 in my bank account. Another bit of a backstory. When I was born, my parents decided to put $1,000 each year on my birthday in a bank account so I could use it for college. It got up to $17,000, and when I left for college, guess who didn't see a cent of that money? Granted, me and my parents had a rocky relationship for a while based on my ex-boyfriend at the time. They told me I needed to grow up before they could give it to me. Since then, I'm pretty sure this account doesn't exist anymore. I've asked them to show me the total amount even if they don't want to give it to me, and they've refused. I don't know if it's wrong to assume, but I'm pretty sure they've taken the money for themselves. Even if they did, it is wrong for me to even be mad at them. It was their money after all. But in August, my parents decided they wanted to buy a house. Since they only have about $30,000 together right now, they wanted me to loan them my entire savings for a down payment, with the guarantee they would pay it back to me. I completely blew up at them. I told them about the college savings and me paying for my own college, and that they have no right to be asking me for money. I also asked why the $17,000 that was supposed to go to me wouldn't help. They screamed back at me, calling me a liar, that they never touched the money, and calling me a complete cheapskate for not wanting to help out your parents. I come from a culture where if you have money, you should be taking care of your parents. Me and my parents are in bad terms now, with the younger generation of my family telling me I'm not an a-hole, and the older generation that I am. Some people have told me to at least give them some money since I could afford it. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They are adults who can take care of themselves. Keep the money for your education. Guarantees don't mean anything. They're also lying about the bank. During underwriting, the bank will ask typically for multiple months of account statements and will see the new cash. They will demand a gift letter, a signed statement from original poster saying that this is a gift with no expectation of repayment. Also, it sounds like original poster just gave them $17,000, so not the a-hole. If they aren't liars, then where is the money? You have a straightforward answer for your parents. They have promised you money before and you never saw it. If you give them money now, you can't trust that you will ever see it again. No offense, but it sounds like your parents are terrible with money. If they are buying a house and rely on you for the down payment, they cannot afford that house and likely will not be able to afford the mortgage. Keep your money, get your degree, become a rock star nurse, and live a happy life. You owe them nothing. Raising you was their obligation for squirting you out, not a favor they could cash in on later. Not the a-hole. It's a terrible idea to loan large sums of money to a family, especially for them to use it for a mortgage. Depending on your financial institution and country regulations, you have to sign that this $30,000 would be a gift and that they're not required to pay you back. Otherwise, it affects how much their mortgage amount can be per month or if they even qualify. Debt service ratio, banks only want you to owe money to them kind of thing. You're too young and work too hard to sign such a document. Don't do it, stand your ground. Alternatively, you could buy a house and charge a rent at the cost of the mortgage and get that sweet, sweet equity.